It's me as usual, Jake Baldino, and we're here with another episode of Before You Buy, the show where we give you some straight up gameplay and thoughts on the latest games releasing. Today we're talking about Metroid Samus Returns for the 3DS, so let me get this right out of the way though. Apologies, this is going to be a messy one because we didn't really get the annoying 3DS capture setup in time, and I didn't expect the game to be worth anyone's time really, but it seems like it is, and I just wanted to get some quick thoughts out there. So yes, I know this video looks horrible, I'm sorry. A lot of you guys have been asking about this one, and I just wanted to keep up because Samus Returns is actually very, very good. If you wanted a new Metroid game, you got one here. While it doesn't do anything radically new, it still manages to be a hell of a lot of fun if you're down with this style of game. It's actually a complete remake of 1994's Metroid 2 Return of Samus for the original Game Boy. Look, if you didn't play it, no one will judge you, it's fine. This is a big deal though because there's been a long Metroid drought from Nintendo. Counting main actual Metroid games, it's been like 7 years. It bears some similar elements to the game it's reimagining, but ultimately it's a wider, more in-depth game. So the way it goes down, after the events of the original Metroid, Samus is sent to SR-388 to, just kill a bunch of Metroids. Like the classic game though, progress is based on exploring environments, gaining abilities to get into new sections, and hunting and killing Metroids to like drain this lava pool and gain access to deeper and more difficult areas. Now while I say it doesn't do anything radically new, that's mostly in structure and stuff. The controls and combat though feel like a fresh, somewhat modernized Metroid, and it makes the game 10 times more fun. Samus can remain still and fire in 360 degrees, do a charge shot, launch rockets, turn into a morph ball, and do all the Metroid stuff, but it feels smooth as butter. One nice little touch is that she can even fire while climbing onto a ledge. It's just a pretty nice little touch I liked, but it's indicative of the game's eye for detail. Areas are really open and hidden with little areas to discover and access, especially if you're going to be backtracking with newfound abilities. Stop me if you've heard that before, but it's not the hugest Metroid world. There's been bigger ones to explore, but it is a satisfying one, at least for me. The biggest change though is the flow of combat. Metroid still feels fast and strafey, but enemies behave very differently now. Most of the time if they see you, they're just gonna wind up and charge at you. Luckily though, you have this melee parry move that when you time it right, you can knock them back, leaving them vulnerable to this cool, powerful shot. And when you're fighting Metroids, the camera angle actually switches to a cool perspective. I didn't expect that. This move to pull off is actually kind of tricky. You gotta pay attention, and it'll take a few minutes for you to get used to the timing of it, but man, God, it feels satisfying. It always feels cool when you pull it off, and it just kind of changes up the flow and keeps combat interesting just like the enemy types do, especially the various bosses and sub-bosses of various Metroids you go through. Some are just slight variations, some are new mutations, and the fights are always fairly engaging and challenging, except when the game throws you an easy one here and there later on, just to kind of make you realize how powerful you've become. It's actually a cool little touch I like. You get a pretty healthy amount of abilities and upgrades. Some I don't want to spoil because they're just so fun, but you get cooler looking suits, different types of rocket and morph ball variations, just to name a few. Not to mention the game looks damn good too. It's still a little on the jagged side, but that's because it's on 3DS. Otherwise, you get a really vague, haunting, mysterious sci-fi world with threatening creatures and those towering gold Chozo statues between dark caverns and more colorful areas. It's just a good looking thing. The music too is pretty slight, but really good where it's used. It's got that classic Metroid jingle you were probably hoping for too. With Samus Returns, you're never going to be bored or stuck for very long. The game does include this scanner that reveals things to you that I think kind of takes away some of the Metroid appeal, but it's not a complete game breaker at all. It's not the hardest Metroid I've played by far, but you definitely still have to pay attention. And it's also a fairly lengthy adventure, like 15 hours, give or take a few, depending on how you play and how experienced you are, but it's just paced really well too. Aside from the occasional wandering, you're going to be having fun constantly if you're anything like me. The nice trickle of weapons and power upgrades and abilities just keep you coming back and wanting more consistently, and that to me makes a good Metroid game. And it's really, really good to be able to say that out loud. I'm really pumped that Nintendo did put out a new Metroid game, and I hope a bunch of people buy it, so it shows Nintendo that they should just keep making more Metroid games. I know we're getting another Metroid Prime, but I want this to still be a thing because it's a good sci-fi series. But that's my soapbox, and this is a Before You Buy. You know the deal. I give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion, but now I definitely want to hear yours. If you are into this, for me, I dusted off my 3DS for this, and I was happily surprised, but I want to know how you guys feel. Maybe you're a Metroid fan, maybe you're not at all. I want to hear your perspectives on the outside looking in or on the inside. Let's talk about this stuff. I'll be in the comments, but I'll also be on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jake Baldino as usual. But you guys know the deal. Clicking the like button does help us out. It lets us do more of these videos, and if you're new, you should subscribe because we make new videos every single day, and we do Before You Buys every single week. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.